What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. What's up, subscribers? What's up, people that are about to subscribe? Today we're going to be talking about the Dell XPS 15 9500, this guy right here, as well as comparing it to last year's model, the 7590, and giving you an initial review after 2 weeks of using it. Also, if you're new here, I have a couple other videos I've made already. One unboxing and two, a SSD install. Without further ado, let's get into it. So it's been about 2 weeks since I've started using the Dell XPS 15 9500. I'm going to be comparing it today to the 7590 from last year. I'll tell you how I feel about this laptop on the way. So first off, the differences between the two, the biggest difference I believe is going to probably be the processors. The 9500 with the new 10th gen and the 7590 with the 9th gen. So for those two processors, entry level, they both start with an i5, but I do recommend going with an i7. My reason for it being is the i7 starts with a 6 core, while the i5 only has a 4 core. As you know, a lot of people like to think, and I think of it for the most part at least, more cores, more performance. And next off is the RAM. This model I have here has the i7. It does have a 6-core processor, and the RAM in this one, I have 16 gigabytes of RAM. Comparing this model to last year's model, well, they both have RAM and they can both go up to 64 gigabytes. But the big difference between them is the new 9500, the RAM is clocked at 2933 megahertz, while last year's model only comes clocked at 2666. And that little difference really does make a difference as far as performance goes. And for the GPU, GTX 1650 for both, except for the 9500 is a 1650 Ti with Max Q, both with 4 gigs of VRAM. The 9500 comes with GDDR6, while last year's model is only GDDR5. Let me know what the biggest difference between those two are, because I am honestly not 100% sure. I use this laptop mainly for very light gaming, a lot of YouTube video watching, and since I started this channel, a lot of video editing. I mean, not intense editing, as you could tell from these videos, but I'm working on it. So far, I haven't had any issues, but I guess only time will tell. These displays are actually pretty good as well, and that's what's next on this list. My specific display is the FHD, so Full HD 1080p. These also come in 4K, but I opted for the 1080 just because of the battery life. The difference between this year's model, the 9500 versus last year's, is the aspect ratio. For this year, the aspect ratio for this 15-inch is going to be 16 by 10 versus last year's 16 by 9. So you get a little bit more towards the bottom here, a little more real estate towards the bottom of the screen. They both are capable of going 500 nits of brightness. This new model comes with a 4-edge infinity display, and the last year's model only comes with 3, hence last year's model had a chin. So opening it up, I want to mention a couple of things. I want to talk about the keyboard just a little bit. It's very tactile. I don't know if you could hear that very well, but sounds pretty good, feels pretty good. I have no complaints on it. Actually, for a laptop, I think it feels pretty good. And this trackpad, oh, this trackpad. A lot of people have been asking me about this trackpad. Does it click while you use it? Is it loose? Honestly, when I first got the laptop, I thought it was a little loose, but after using it for a while, it really is pretty normal. I mean, I really I don't hear anything. The only loose parts of this trackpad is towards the very bottom, where the actual right and left clicks are usually. But even there's not much of a sound or odd feeling It feels pretty good for the most part, I want to say. So no, this unit does not have a problem with the trackpad. I will say that with confidence. But while this thing is open, let's talk about the different features that it has inside. We have new speakers compared to last year's model. This 9500 actually has a 4-speaker design, 2 2.5 watt woofers and 2 1.5 watt tweeters, making it a total of 8 watts. So with this one, you have an 8 watt output. Compared to last year's model, which only had 2 watts, you only had about 4 watts of power coming out. So comparing this one to last year's model, this one definitely would sound better. These speakers were tuned by Waves Max Audio Pro. So comparing it to a MacBook that my brother actually has, it doesn't sound as good, but pretty close. I want to go ahead and mention that for anybody that was curious. If audio is important to you, this isn't the best, but it isn't bad. This year's model and last year's model both have the 720p webcam built into it. Not the greatest webcam, but it will get the job done. I mean, I don't do a lot of video calls on my laptop. If I do any kind of video calls, it's usually on my phone. Battery life, I've been getting a pretty good, solid 9.5 to 10 hours, depending on what I'm doing. But like I said, for the most part, light video editing, gaming, some occasional photo editing, and YouTube videos. So it's been doing a good job. I mean, screen on time, actual usage, we're talking at least 9 hours. So no problems there. Speaking of audio, after audio and power and battery life, the actual battery size, the new model and last year's model both come standard with the 56 watt hour, but I opted for the 86 watt hour in this one just for a little better battery life. The 56 watt hour I think comes in with the, I don't want to say basic, but basic model XPS 15 with the i5. And if you go up to the i7, you'll be getting the 86 watt hour. Last year's model, the higher end, had the 97 watt hour battery, but improvements they've done to, you know, software and all those different things, this actually outperforms last year's model. Next, we're going to be talking about ports. Let's start with the 7590 first. For the 7590, we have one Thunderbolt 3 that supplies power and also acts as a display port. 4 lanes of PCIe Gen 3. Then we have 2 USB 3.1 Gen 1s, an HDMI 2.0 port, and a full-size SD card reader. Also a Kensington lock slot. Well, now we're going to compare it to this one that only has a few different slots, and as you can tell, a lot less. We have this right here, a full-size SD card reader, and then a USB-C 3.1 power delivery and display. So data speeds aren't as fast on that one. And then we have on this other side that wedge-shaped lock slot I was talking about. And then you have 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports with power delivery and display port. Yes, this is a whole lot less as far as ports go, but this laptop does come with a dongle that has a HDMI 2.0 and a USB Type A port, just in case you need to use any of those while you're on the go. For the most part, I use this laptop docked on my desk with a monitor, so I really don't have a problem. Port selections have gotten smaller, but honestly, with the new peripherals that are coming out and higher speed storages, honestly, that dongle is probably all you're going to need. I also want to mention that you can charge this laptop through any of the USB-C ports. It makes it really convenient for desk setups and plugging it into a monitor. I thought I'd mention that. So next we're going to talk about dimensions. Overall, this laptop is a little smaller than last year's model. It's a little more compact and feels a little more dense, if you know what I mean. The 9500 height, width, and depth, 18, 345, and 230. Those are all in millimeters. And then now we're looking at the 7590 height, width, and depth, millimeters, 17, 357, and 235. So a good amount difference as far as, you know, overall footprint. As for the weight, it's 4 pounds and 4.5 pounds respectively. For 1080, it's 4 pounds, and for the 4K touchscreen model, it's 4.5. So if you want a heavier laptop or a lighter laptop, I guess you could choose based off of those displays. And last, but not least, of course, connectivity. Both laptops support the new standard Wi-Fi 6. They both sport a killer Wi-Fi 6 AX1650 card. The only difference between the two cards really is the newer model comes with Bluetooth 5.1 and the older model comes with Bluetooth 5. Through everyday usage, I have not been able to tell the difference between the two. They both perform pretty well. I've only had a chance to test my friend's 7590 for a couple days, so I mean, I didn't really see any issues there either. That really concludes the comparison and my thoughts on the laptop. Overall, I really do like the laptop. It doesn't get too loud. From personal experience, it doesn't get very loud while working. Even video editing or photo editing, and even my light gaming. And don't laugh at me, guys. My light gaming really is light. It is the occasional League of Legends session. Okay, don't laugh at me. I'm sorry. I'm not the biggest gamer, but it does what I need it to do. And hopefully in the future I can expand my horizon with different games and, you know, different things. As far as that goes, if you guys have any other questions, or maybe you feel like I left something out of this video, just please comment down below and ask me the questions you want to know, and if I know the answers, I'll definitely reach out to you. I've been trying to do my best to stay in the comment section for as long as I can, even on those older videos. And if you missed those older videos, my first video was an unboxing of this, and the second video was about installing an SSD into this laptop, which this one now has a terabyte, and also installing this brand skin. That should be it for now. Well, if you enjoyed the video, and if you didn't, please leave a comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are on this video. Like I said, if you have any questions, just leave it down below. Remember, comment, like, and subscribe. I appreciate your time, and thanks for joining me today. We'll see you next time.